Welcome everyone to Marvel Hub. This is DK Dynamite, and this will be a spoiler-filled review of Captain Marvel and going in depth with the ending of the film, including the post-credit scene as well. So if you haven't seen the film yet, definitely go check it out and then come back to this video later. But jumping right into it, neither side, the Skrulls or the Kree, are necessarily bad. Both have bad people in them, but as you find out, the Kree are actually the enemy in this movie. The Skrulls just wanted to find a new home. They were refugees looking for a new home after the Kree destroyed theirs. They didn't want to live up to the Kree's expectations. They didn't want to go under the Kree's order, so they fought back and said, you know what, we want to be on our own. We want to find their own home. We want nothing to do with you guys. But that of course started a war, because there are lots of Skrulls and lots of Kree, as we come to know in the film. And General Talos is a pretty strong character in Captain Marvel. You know, at first he's fighting Fury, he's fighting Captain Marvel, and then as you get towards the end of the second act, General Talos comes to speak to Carol, Fury, and her buddy, and they kind of go over what the truth is. And Carol is pretty enraged at first to learn that she's been lied to, but it's a very strong character arc of her not knowing who she is, to finding out who she is, to then finding out who the real enemy is. It's a pretty strong arc, at least I would say. So once she finds the truth, they side with the Skrulls and figure out that they need to find the energy core, or the source that can really allow them to travel through space so they can find a new home. We later come to find out that that energy core, that source, is actually the Tesseract, and it makes perfect sense. The Tesseract is the Space Stone, another Infinity Stone that makes an appearance, which might confuse you guys, but I'll have a video on screen and in the description to help you guys understand how the Tesseract fits in within Captain Marvel. But I think the best explanation as to why there was so much war, General Talos specifically says they all have dirt on their hands. All of their hands are dirty because it's a war, and everybody is guilty of killing each other's people and just going ballistic and having this massive battle, massive explosions over what to me is a misunderstanding. Maybe the Kree doesn't understand that the Skrulls just want to find a home, but the impression I got towards the end is that, yeah, they kind of understood, but they don't care. They want to be ruling the Skrulls. They want to be above everybody else. So that's where the war took place, and that's how it all started. But Ronan the Accuser also makes an appearance. He's working with the Kree, and he is essentially sent to destroy Earth at some point in the film, since I believe Yon-Rogg tells Ronan that there is a Skrull invasion on Earth, so the entire planet's going to have to be decimated. And Ronan gives it a try, but Captain Marvel stops it, and she, of course, makes Ronan go away, and we of course know what happens to Ronan in the first Guardians of the Galaxy. So Captain Marvel will definitely never be approaching Ronan the Accuser again, unless they put in some filler plot in a sequel where maybe she does come across him again before the events of Guardians of the Galaxy. But other than that, besides that main twist where the Skrulls are actually the good guys, even though they're kind of not, they're still not the enemy that the Kree portrayed them to be. But what gets really confusing here is the power dampener that Carol had on her neck. Consider it a very similar plot line to Thor Ragnarok, where there was that thing on his neck which prevented him from using his powers, and we know he eventually takes it off and goes full force. But Carol had that on her neck, but she didn't know why, nor does she even acknowledge it until the ending of the film. So that gets into a plot line that I think most casual viewers can easily misinterpret, and that's with the Supreme Intelligence. So the Wendy Lawson character that Carol was looking for ends up being a Kree known as Mar-Vell, and Mar-Vell at some point discovers that the Kree are the actual enemy and the Skrulls just wanted to find a home. So she sympathizes for them, and at another point somehow comes across General Talos to acknowledge that, yes, you guys aren't the bad guy. You guys just want to have peace and find a new home since the Kree destroyed your old one. So not only does she agree with the Skrulls, but she agrees to keep General Talos' family safe in her secret laboratory in orbit. And along with Talos' family, she also obtains the Tesseract and keeps that hidden in her laboratory in space. Now she'll use the Tesseract from time to time to fuel her experimental technology, as she she discovers new ways to help the Skrulls jump through space and time more efficiently to essentially evade the Kree and find themselves a new place to live. So that part gets confusing because the film itself kind of jumps back and forth between Carol's memory to Carol's VR simulation with the Supreme Intelligence, but for some reason the Supreme Intelligence looks exactly like Mar-Vell or Wendy Lawson, however you want to describe her. And from what I understand, I think that was done on purpose, but I'll have a separate video going over why the Supreme Intelligence looks exactly like Wendy Lawson or Mar-Vell, and it's all done to play tricks on Carol Danvers' mind. And obviously, as we come to see in the film, after the experimental spaceship crashes and as the energy core is pretty damn damaged, Carol then shoots it, and as that explosion touches her body, she then absorbs the energy and becomes who she is today, which is Captain Marvel. But she then comes to learn that Jude Law's character, Jan Rog, actually killed Mar-Vell right as she was going to shoot and destroy the power core. So what's really interesting is the idea that if Mar-Vell had successfully shot that energy core in their jet, would Carol have absorbed the energy to become Captain Marvel? I'll probably have a separate video going over that theory later on, but the easiest way to break down Carol Danvers' character arc in this film is that she was a completely normal person, and this is of course how the film promotes strong women in a positive way. She was a normal person, applied for the Air Force, was pushed down and was told that she was never going to make it, but she overcame those obstacles, she surpassed all that negativity, and became a very experienced pilot in the Air Force. That's when she comes across Wendy Lawson, who she didn't know was Mar-Vell at the time, or a Kree, and she comes across Wendy Lawson, and Wendy Lawson was experimenting with this crazy new technology, trying to find a way to travel through space and to be more efficient and to almost surpass everything that humans know about space travel, which was really interesting. It's a very cool plot line. So as Carol and Wendy Lawson are flying one of these experimental jets, Project Pegasus, the Kree somehow find her on Earth and start attacking them. As they attack them, we know what happens. They crash down, and Mar-Vell's like, I have to destroy this energy core before the Kree can take it from me. So as he tries to shoot it, Jan Rog, Jude Law's character, comes and kills her. So Carol successfully shoots that energy core, being as brave as she is. That's when the explosion happens, and that's when she absorbs the energy. She is knocked back on the ground and wakes up later on Hala. So somehow the Kree then take away her memories, so she has no idea who she even is. But even though they took away her memories, Carol was strong enough to remember bits and pieces, to know that there was more to her past. But as the Kree brainwashes her, they make her a part of this Kree army, the Kree Star Force, and that's when the normal events of the film takes place, as she then makes her way back to Earth to figure out who she really is. So it's a really cool plot line, pretty strong character development, and once again, in no way does it promote this evil or this hateful agenda that men are garbage and women are above all. It promotes strong women in the right way, and as it does that, gives us insight on some deeper backstory of the cosmic side for the MCU. But that's about it for my easy breakdown of the ending for Captain Marvel and analyzing the confusing character arcs, which in my opinion could be very difficult to understand if you're a casual viewer, but for diehard fans of the MCU who are used to these kind of twists, they will better interpret how Carol Danvers' arc goes from pretty confusing to very clear, and how the Skrulls are not actually the enemy, and even how the brainwashing took place on Hala. But without further ado, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, turn notifications on, stay up to date with the latest and greatest Marvel news and information. This is DK Dynamite, and peace out, everyone.